The following program is intended for mature audiences.
10 seconds to go. 24-23 Saints. Vikings at their own 39. It's third down. Three receivers right, Thielen left. Marshawn Lattimore 12 yards from Adam. Case on a deep drop. Steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side. Caught by Diggs.
Stay up!
Oh, he got loose!
Oh, my God!
At the 30!
No way!
Touchdown! Are you kidding me?
Miracle finish!
It's a Minneapolis miracle! Stephon Diggs and the Minnesota Vikings have walked up on the New Orleans Saints. It's a 61-yard Minneapolis miracle.
I can't believe what I just saw, Paul Allen. What an unbelievable play. Are you kidding me?
Look at these Vikings coaches. Yes! Let's go to Philadelphia.
Paul, when it's your year, it's your year. That's all I got to say.
Let's go to
Diggs,
Philadelphia.
what an unbelievable play.
It's going to be 48 and drizzly, and we're bringing a purple rain.
What do you say we have a rock and roll party?
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Bills Jags last week. And he's just like, oh, their helmets are so ugly. And I'm like, and I went on to explain the concept of what they're supposed to be. He was just like, why?
That's dumb.
The mentally challenged jaguar that jumps out of the light into the darkness to hunt. They're so close to having a good look. I mean, they really are, because I like a lot of elements of their uniform, and I think if you fix the helmet and did a couple tweaks here and there, that could be a really solid modern look. But whoa, is it a mess right now?
She said the helmet looked like a half-finished Camaro.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Apparently they're getting new uniforms, though, so that's nice.
Are they?
Apparently that's like the rumor. It's the big hot rumor on the forums that the
I had heard that, yeah.
And that one of the changes is going to be that they're going to get a solid color helmet, but nobody knows if it's going to be gold or black.
But don't you think, though, that if they just fixed the helmet and maybe didn't do so much of the mono with the current uniform, that I don't think it would be like super great or anything. It would be pretty solid, I would think.
If they go teal uniforms with I don't know what would look better, the black helmet, the gold helmet?
Yeah, that's a tough call. Probably black if you're going teal, I would think.
Yeah, but I could be down with that.
I mean, I would be down with that too, but I don't know. Those original Jaguars uniforms are just like perfect.
Yeah, they had such a
I don't know
look.
why. I don't know why they insisted on changing it like stupid idiots that they are.
Well, remember the stuff they wore right before they switched to this, and everybody thought, boy, this is kind of bad and all that. Mm-hmm. And now, by comparison, it looks great.
Well, the immediate previous look was just generic mid-2000s piping.
Right.
Yeah, it was the University of Arizona's uniforms.
Oh, God.
But they had some really good looks so early on when they first, came into the league and all that. And just... it slowly kind of, I was going to say progressed, but that's really not the right word. It kind of degressed, I guess, or whatever the word is. And
well, they kept chipping away at it.
Right,
like, they
exactly.
kept making stupid little tweaks until it was just, like, gone.
And then they said, now that we've done all that and we've ruined the original uniform, let's try this thing. And, well, here we are. But
here we are.
Yeah.
With the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Like this, right before we get into the game, I just want to. This to me is the best the Jags ever looked from their inaugural season. Like, look at that. That's just a good looking uniform.
No, you know what the best they ever looked was? The uniforms they never used.
Oh, the original ones with the giant leaping Jaguar.
I never liked the long elongated Jaguar, but Mike's right. That's a great look there. That was really good.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean,
Fred Taylor, where have you gone?
I'm not gonna lie, Zach, that I do have a soft spot in my heart for that original unused Jaguars logo.
Yeah, the copyrighted Jaguar.
Yeah, where they kind of just took the car company's logo and then the car company was like, no.
Yeah, we don't think so. Speaking of Fred Taylor, just real quick, you think he's a Hall of Famer?
No.
No?
Nah.
I don't know. I think you can make an argument. He's a pretty good player, wasn't he? Maybe I'm remembering him better than he actually was.
He was a guy that was good for his team and was just around a while, but, you know.
I don't know. He seemed like he was really good at the time.
What's Fred Taylor's signature moment? What's he famous for other than being the Jags running back for
that's
10 years?
That's his famous moment, okay.
Like, I don't know, like maybe I know championships aren't everything, but I have to think if like that inaugural Jags team had broken through to the Super Bowl once in the 2 AFC title games they made, then maybe, but like...
Well, I thought he put up really good numbers, though, for a pretty sustained stretch there. I'm maybe remembering it entirely incorrectly. I don't know. It just seems like he seems like a guy that was really good that didn't get as much credit as I thought he should.
Well, now you got me Googling Fred Taylor.
Me too. I'm doing the same thing.
This is the most I've ever thought about Fred Taylor.
See, Mike, it's a new experience for you. How about that? Let's see. Pro Football Reference. Let's see what he did here. Career rushing yards, 11,695. That's not bad. 66 touchdowns, 4.6 yards per carry over his career.
What's his high in a season?
Rushing yards looks like it was 1,500 in 2003.
Yeah.
Okay, now I look at his career now, and I see he had that stretch there for about 3 years where he was really good, and then he kind of he dropped down. All right.
He's up and down.
Yeah, not as good as I remembered him. I thought he ran for like 1,000 yards every year, but I guess not. Oh well.
Let's see, how many touchdowns did he have a year? He had the most touchdowns he ran in for was 14 in his first season.
Right.
Then 12 the second year, and not too much after that.
Not too much after that. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I remembered him better than he was.
Yeah, he was integral to those first couple Jags teams, and then was around for a while. But
who was that receiver they had? Jimmy Smith, I thought was really good too, but probably wasn't.
Yeah.
Remember he had I don't know if you can remember him. Jimmy Smith, he was their wide receiver. Because it was Jimmy Smith and Fred Taylor. That was their two big players. And what's his name?
The quarterback was
Mark Brunell.
Mark Brunell.
Yeah. Former backup to Brett Favre with the Green Bay Packers. I don't know. But anyway.
Is that so?
Yeah, he was. They should have held on to him, I think.
I think the Packers did all right for themselves.
Yeah, I suppose. Favre did get him to 2 Super Bowls and won one. And
then this Aaron Rodgers kid ain't half bad.
Yeah, he's pretty good, too. And I think that the Jags right now would probably take Rodgers, Favre, or even Brunell at this point.
I think they would take Brett Favre as is right now, but who am I to say that against playoff hero Blake Bortles?
AFC finalist Blake Bortles.
I have a great Bortles fact that came across my desk today.
Okay.
From the Twitter account Bortles Facts.
I follow that. I think the show account follows it too. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. If it would load for me, here we go. Okay, Bortles fact: playoff losses. Tom Brady 9, Blake Bortles 0.
Oh, that's true. That is a true statistic.
Yes.
Indisputable fact.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has more playoff losses than Blake Bortles. Playoff wins in 2018. Blake Bortles 2. Tom Brady 1.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I'm not making these numbers up. I'm just presenting facts.
That's right.
I'm not arguing for one side or the other. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Something to think about. You want to say that it's a pretty clear-cut case that Brady's better than Bortles, but when you look at the numbers, you go, I'm not so sure.
Blake Bortles 2-0 in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Pretty fine.
I think Tom Brady's about 13-0 in Pittsburgh, so we're going to call that one a push. Blake Bortles in the AFC Championship game. Who had that at the beginning of the season?
The season's stupid.
A little bit.
No, yeah. Look, or to say that our Final Four is put up of Tom Brady, Blake Bortles, Nick Foles, and Case Keenum.
God damn.
Speaking of Keenum and Foles, did you guys see that post that somebody put on the boards that 2 of Jeff Fisher's former quarterbacks are in the Super Bowl? The numbers are 7 and 9, which I thought was hysterical.
Two former Rams quarterbacks.
Yep, and they're 7-9.
If you had to put your money on which Rams quarterbacks would be playing in the Super Bowl,
I would have gone with Vince Ferragamo over these two.
Yeah. This is a weird one. This is just a weird little season. But here's the thing that just, I wanted to say this till later, but it came into my head now. This is all fun and games, but you know how seasons like this end, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's fun. It's all this wackiness, and who's going to win? Oh, it's the Patriots.
Right.
No, that's
Tom Brady's going to beat Marcus Mariota, Blake Bortles, and Keenum or Foles on his way to a Super Bowl.
That's what I said last night when all this was going down, was that the ending to that Saints-Vikings game was a great feel-good moment for the Vikings. And they're probably going to get to the Super Bowl and play in their home stadium, and it's going to be awesome until the Pats hang 50 on them.
Right.
And that was fun for like a week. Okay.
I came into the show tonight, and I really wanted to try to put together an argument that Jacksonville had a shot at beating New England. And
I think they do.
I thought they did yesterday, but today I'm going, I just don't see it.
If they can play like they did yesterday, and maybe the Patriots have an off day, it's possible.
But which Jaguars team shows up?
Right.
The one that went toe-to-toe with Pittsburgh, or the one that stunk up the joint against Buffalo?
The struggle scoring 10 points at home and at home against the Buffalo Bills, right?
Yeah, no, of course. That's the question to ask, and I'm not saying that they will beat them. Just there is an avenue.
Yeah.
But as Bill Simmons said on his podcast, big Patriots homer, he thinks the Patriots are going to win, of course. He's not afraid of the Jaguars, but could the Jaguars beat the Patriots? Sure, it could happen. But if you're a Patriots fan, you're the Patriots, you have no reason to be afraid of the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good if I'm a Patriots fan right now, because I look at this field.
This has got to be the easiest path the Patriots have ever had to a Super Bowl.
But think about it though for a second. Wasn't the Giants team that beat them the first time a 9-7 team? Didn't it seem like it was really easy for them that time too, and they ended up losing? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Eli Manning is better than Blake Bortles.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'd heard that point made that this might be the Patriots' easiest road to a Super Bowl, and I do want to pull up their road to the Super Bowls that they've won.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
I'll find it right now.
Okay, people are going to want to discount this if the Patriots do them, but they can only play who you put in front of them, and you can't. Because I listened to Bill Simmons too, and they're like, Cousin Sal's like, they got to put an asterisk on this one and don't even hang a banner. It's like I get it. I understand the feeling. Believe me, I do, because I'm tired of the Patriots too. But that's kind of unfair. I mean, they can only play who they play, and if this be number 6 for them.
This would be 6.
Yeah, I don't care how they got there, how they did it. You still got to win the games, and that's it's going to be impressive. But I don't know. As crazy as this season has been, I don't think the Jaguars will beat the Patriots, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it happened.
Yeah.
This just feels weird. Of course, there's the whole thing. It's like, well, Tom Brady is the one standout in this group of 4 QBs, and the Patriots have got to be the odds-on favorite to win it at this point. But at the same time, I don't know. This feels so weird. What alternate universe did I slip into where Case Keenum, Nick Foles, and Blake Bortles are playing in conference championship games? What the hell?
Well, yeah. Think about it this way, too. Tom Brady, 5 Super Bowls. The other 3 quarterbacks combined 4 playoff victories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's astounding. What am I trying to say? How different they are from one to the next. And that's why as much as it would kind of be maybe a little lame to just see Breeze versus Brady in the Super Bowl, it's kind of why I wanted the Saints to win.
Yeah.
Because you have a Drew Brees, you have that kind of name recognition, that talent, that veteran experience that could potentially bring something interesting. And yes, it's interesting to have all these new teams, but it's like we talk about when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Yeah, it's great if everything was an upset, but then you have to have the Cinderellas play each other and you realize that they're all 13 seeds.
Right.
And that's kind of, despite the Eagles having a great season and the Vikings defense looking really good and all that sort of stuff, these teams just still don't feel like they're anywhere near the level of the Patriots. And let's say Jacksonville does miraculously beat New England, and then your Super Bowl is Jacksonville versus Minnesota or Philadelphia without with Nick Foles and not Carson Wentz. Wouldn't it feel just a little anticlimactic at that point?
I don't think so, because you'd have a Jacksonville team going for a Super Bowl, and I would enjoy that.
Yeah, you'd have all the other three teams have not won a Super Bowl before, so you do have that bit of.
But as far as the big clash of the Titans, Super Bowl, capital S, capital B, no, it's not going to have any of that. Even I don't care. It's not going to have that period at this point, because if it's the Patriots against the Vikings or the Eagles, I just don't see it being any. It's going to be one of the more forgettable Super Bowls. At least it's shaping up to be that right now. You never know; it could be one of the greatest games ever. But right now, I think it's going to be in 3 years. We're going to go, who they play again? If the Patriots win this, I think it'll be one of those deals.
Yeah. It'll be like I don't know. Yeah,
So,
I just feel it. Like I said, it's going to end up. We're going to end up with the Vikings playing in their home Super Bowl, and then they're going to get slaughtered by the Patriots, and that's going to be how the season ends.
Well,
so here, I want to go through the other games, the road that Patriots have taken in their previous Super Bowls now. Okay, so 2001, the first time. You start off with the Tuck Rule game against Oakland. Where they won.
Right, yes.
They were a number 2 seed, New England was that year, so they had a first round bye. Then they played the number 1 seed Pittsburgh Steelers. And who was the quarterback at that point?
That would probably have been the Cordell Stewart era, right?
I'm trying to
Charlie Batch. That wasn't Ben Roethlisberger yet.
Cordell Stewart, Tommy Maddox.
Yeah.
The immortal Tommy Maddox.
Right.
So, not a bad team. Obviously a number 1 seed. And then in the Super Bowl, they beat the greatest show on turf in the St. Louis Rams.
Right. I think you can say they earned that one, because that Raiders team was good that year too.
And that was the first year, and I don't think that you can count that against them.
No.
That's the beginning of the run. 2003, they are the number 1 seed that year. They beat Tennessee in the divisional round.
Who was good back then?
The 2003 Titans. I think. Let me pull up their roster. I believe this was a.
Well, they'd been in the Super Bowl.
Was that a McNair team, or had he moved on by then?
Steve McNair, Eddie George.
Yeah, they were good.
that was a good team.
Yeah, they were good.
Then they beat Manning and the Colts in Gillette Stadium. And then they beat the Panthers with Jake Delhomme in the Super Bowl.
Which was a better game than people remember it being, I think.
Added to Terry's heroics.
Yep.
That was another good game that came down to, I think the final play. So, yeah.
And if the Panthers had shown up at all in the first half, they may have won that game. But if you remember, they were just hot garbage for the first half, and they came out and put it together in the second half.
Well, look, when you have to rely on Jake Delhomme,
yeah, but we didn't know he was Jake Delhomme back then. He actually looked like he had a future as a quarterback. If you remember back then, he wasn't the Jake Delhomme that ended up starting for the Browns. I mean, he was still pretty good back then.
Oh, is he on the quarterback jersey?
Oh, sure, absolutely,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Then the next year, again, they're the number 2 seed. They play Peyton Manning in the divisional round in Gillette Stadium, and you can guess how that went. 20-3. Then they go to Heinz Field and beat the
15-1 Steelers, right?
Rookie Ben Roethlisberger Steelers.
Yeah.
41-27.
Yeah, remember, because Roethlisberger's first year, they went 15-1.
I'm sensing a theme here regarding the Steelers and Patriots.
Here's the thing with the early ones. I don't know if you can put any of these early ones as easy, because every single time he's going through Manning and the Steelers,
right?
Almost every single time. And then that's the year they beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, which it was a 3-point game, but I remember that not being it
was not.
That was when we really got our first close look at Andy Reid and the clock management problems that he would come to be known for.
Maybe I'm completely misremembering this, but but the way I recall is that Patriots pretty much dominated most of the game. Philadelphia had a brief comeback at the end and maybe could have pulled it off, but Andy Reided.
Well, what it was they had a drive going, and there was, I don't remember how much time was left. It wasn't a lot, like three or 4 minutes or something. And the Eagles were just lollygagging it like they just didn't have a care in the world. They weren't running any kind of hurry up. They'd huddle. They'd walk up to the line nice and slow. And everybody is just going, what are you doing? And that's how it turned out. So, a little
and
more.
Dominic vomiting in the huddle.
Right, yeah.
Then we move up to 2014. They are again the number 1 seed. They beat Baltimore, who upset Pittsburgh in the wild card round. The immortal Joey Flacco.
We are starting to see a real theme with these Steelers, aren't we?
And then in the championship game, they play the Colts, who beat. That
was the Kansas City game, right?
No, that was.
Wasn't
the Colts beat Cincinnati in the first round? Then they went to Denver when Luck beat Manning when Manning was kind of hurt.
Right. Okay, right, yeah.
And then
it's part of the War of 1812.
Then the Patriots blew out the Colts in that game, of course, and then they would go on to beat Seattle in dramatic fashion in that Super Bowl. So I guess this one.
What about last year? Who did they beat to get there last year?
That one's okay. The last year is the one where it gets a little bit weaker because then again they're the number 1 seed. They play Houston in the first round.
Yeah,
destroy them. They host Pittsburgh in the next round and destroy them 36-17.
Yeah, well, as Mike pointed out, I think we've established a definite theme with the Steelers and the Patriots here.
Yes.
That's why everybody's kind of like, any chance of beating the Patriots went out the window with the Steelers. It's like, honestly, if you want to beat the Patriots, I think we got a better shot with the Jaguars right now because the Steelers just have proven they can't do it.
We're just going through the ones where the Patriots have won the Super Bowl.
Right. Oh, I'm not saying the Steelers are bad. I'm saying the Steelers can't beat the Patriots, and they can't. Some teams, and it seems that Jacksonville may be the next team that just has the Steelers number, where it's just a matter of, I don't know if it's matchups or how it works out, but the Steelers have trouble with the Patriots, and apparently the Jaguars too now. It's just one of those things. The Steelers, they won a couple Super Bowls in that stretch with the during the Patriots run, didn't they? They beat they had one handed to them in Seattle against Seattle when the Steelers and the referees beat the Seahawks, and they beat the Cardinals in that last second play by Santonio Holmes.
And they
lost to the Packers.
Lost to the Packers. Yeah.
So they've had a good run too, but they just can't do it if New England's in their way.
Well, I'm going to pull up those 2 years just to check. That the first time when they beat Seattle, they didn't play New England. Denver beat New England in the divisional round, and then when they beat the Cardinals,
wasn't that the 11-5 Patriots year that didn't make the playoffs?
Yeah, the Pittsburgh played San Diego and Baltimore.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not. And then last year. So I guess this has to be the weakest when you kind of look at it that way. Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to the quarterbacks.
Well, Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, you go back over the years of the quarterbacks they played. I mean, we heard Steve McNair's name pop up. Donovan McNabb wasn't bad.
Peyton Manning, Ben
Roethlisberger.
Joey Flacco, the elite Joey Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want about Flacco, but he did have a few good games here and there. And now he's got to get past Blake Bortles. I just, as far as challenges go, I think that this might be the easiest one.
Yeah.
But you never know.
So to go through the games themselves, I guess we'll go with the Jags-Steelers one. I think it's easier to start with the Sunday game just because they're so incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville kicked the shit out of the Steelers, really. It ended up being a 3-point game, but it wasn't
so
that close.
As I was watching, I got the feeling, the Jags are letting the Steelers back in. They're going to blow it, but they surprised me because every time Pittsburgh started to rally, Jacksonville had an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Steelers would pull within a touchdown, but then the Jags would come right back and score another one.
That game,
you just don't see that. Usually in those cases, when you have an unprepared, not an unprepared, but an inexperienced team in the playoffs going up against a team that's been there, and the experienced team starts to rally after a slow start, you really expect the inexperienced team to sort of shut down, because that's usually just how it happens. But no, Jacksonville kept going. They kept answering them.
I think that it's hard to say that a 42 or 45-42 game wasn't close, but it's one of those classic examples of the score does not give. It makes it seem a lot closer than it really was. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. This is kind of a homer pick here, but it reminded me of when Ohio State played Alabama in the 2014 playoff, where the score was close. But if you watch that game, you're like, Ohio State kicked their ass all day long. Yeah, the score was close, but the Buckeyes were never in danger of losing the game, and that's kind of how I felt with the Jaguars in this one. Like, yeah, it was close, but the Jaguars were the better team.
The Jaguars won by 10 points, ultimately, because that Steelers touchdown with 5 seconds left or whatever, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But speaking of late in that game, what the hell is Mike Tomlin doing?
Beats me.
Throughout the game, when they were short yardage, like 4th and 1 or whatever, and they're throwing it deep rather than taking Ben friggin' Roethlisberger up the middle or something.
Yeah. And then it worked twice for him, but I still don't know that that's the route I would have taken.
No. And then the thing that just really blows my mind. So they're down 10 points, right? And they're down 10 points, and they have 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning ahead of them with like 2:14 left. And they try this onside kick that even if there was nobody in the way, that ball was never going to go 10 yards.
Yeah,
it barely went 5.
That was just a terrible. That's got to be one of the worst onside kicks I've ever seen.
Awful onside kick. So the Jags are right there. They kick a field goal or whatever, and then the Steelers march down and get a quick touchdown with 4 seconds left. But it's like, and you ask him after the game, it's like, well, we hadn't stopped them all day. Well, you gotta try. Like, you don't just give the other team the football, like
in field goal range. Yeah,
I don't get it.
Well, speaking of that, there's been some talk that Mike Tomlin might be on the hot seat now, which I think is absurd. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't see it. But people are like, oh, Tomlin. It's like he's a pretty good coach. I mean,
look,
they haven't been in the Super Bowl in 8 years or whatever it's been, but they're competitive every single year.
Well, and look at the Steelers' coaching history.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get rid of him.
They've had 3 coaches in my life.
They kept Bill Cowher around through some pretty lean years, and I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, and Mike Tomlin's still a young coach.
I think he's a good coach too.
Yeah. He took this group of Steelers to 13-3.
Yeah, and if you remember us talking about the Steelers team back throughout the season, we're like, these guys aren't very good. These guys aren't very good. Well, they finished 13-3. And I don't think they were that good, but I think that they had good coaching and they did enough to win games. And I just think that if you're talking about getting rid of Mike Tomlin and you're a Steelers fan, you're an idiot, because this guy's a good coach and you don't want him going anywhere. Who are you going to replace him with?
Right. As I said with some of the college coaches that were being fired and hired, you don't fire if you're in a situation like the Steelers where you're still going to be okay if you keep your coach, but maybe you do want an improvement. You do not fire your current coach if you cannot find an improvement.
Exactly.
Like, I got to put this out there at some point. I just want to look at the state of Arizona for a second as an example of this. The Sun Devils fired Todd Graham because I was okay with firing him, but I thought, hey, they're going to get a better coach. Kevin Sumlin was out there, right? He's a guy that they could get. Well, they didn't want to pay so much money to all these coaches or whatever, so then they end up hiring Herm Edwards to be like CEO head coach and be like, no, he's just going to delegate to all the coordinators. All the coordinators will stay. Well, then all the coordinators left, and the team looks like they're going to be shit. And guess who Kevin Sumlin signed on with after Rich Rod got fired for sexual harassment? University of Arizona. So, just point of fact, Steelers. Sure, if you want to fire Mike Tomlin, just make sure you're going to actually get somebody that's good.
Well,
and you're not going to get yourself in some sort of bidding war with all these head coaches that are being bandied about.
Look, Mike Tomlin being fired would be like the greatest gift to the rest of the league, because
I'll tell you what,
he will not have a shortage of opportunities.
If Mike Tomlin gets fired, if I'm Jimmy Haslam and the Cleveland Browns, I'm on the phone the minute that it comes out saying, "Come here."
But you've already committed to Hugh Jackman.
I don't care. Hugh Jackman will be better, actually, I think, than Hugh Jackson. But we've got the Wolverine as our coach. Damn it, we're going to be good. We'll be small, but we'll be good. But no, I think any team that, like in a situation like the Browns or any of the bad teams, if Mike Tomlin becomes available, you call him up and go, put a number on here. Tell us what you want. That's what I would do. It's idiotic. I mean, I get it. The Steelers fans are frustrated. They lost to the Jaguars with Blake Bortles and all that. But come on, let's step away from the fire Mike Tomlin talk for a little while here.
Mike Tomlin's not the problem.
No.
Big Ben being close to retirement is the problem.
Well, that and losing Ryan Shazier really hurt their defense more than I think anybody thought it was going to at the time.
Yeah, the Jags scored one defensive touchdown, so they scored 38 points on offense.
Yeah.
You let the Jaguars, who struggled to score 13 points against the Bills, or 45 total on you in your own building, that's inexcusable, really.
Yeah.
But on the other side for the Jaguars, and this is why this is the reason I don't think they're going to beat the Patriots. They let up 42 points.
Right. That defense everybody's been talking about how great that defense is all year, but I read an article, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, about how it's great against bad teams, but when they play a team that's good, they're not so hot. And I think we saw a really good example of that yesterday.
When you look, Ben Roethlisberger is clearly on the decline of his career.
And I thought he actually played great against the Jags.
Yeah,
he did. He did. But you can afford to get into a shooting match with Ben Roethlisberger, and if you're at the top of your game, you're going to win that. You can win that. You cannot get into a shootout with Tom Brady. If you get into a shootout like this with Tom Brady, he will bury you.
Well, yeah.
No, the key for the Jaguars is not to be this shoot 'em up team like they were against the Steelers. They have to run it with Leonard Fournette. They got to try and kill the game, and I don't think they're going to do it.
Well, what they've got to do is basically they've got to get the pressure on Brady. Which, if their defense was as good as everybody says it is, they would have no trouble doing that. But I don't think that defense is as good as people say it is. It's great against bad teams, but they look dominant. And they had a couple of nice defensive plays yesterday against the Steelers, but you still gave up 42. Well, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say 35 because that last touchdown was garbage time and nobody gave a shit. But that's still 35 points.
Yeah.
And you can't do, and if you can't go into New England playing the kind of defense they played yesterday and expect to win. It won't happen.
Yeah. You want to spot the Patriots 35 points, go for it.
Yeah.
See what happens.
No, I'm telling you, you want to know what's going to happen? The AFC title game? Look up the scene from Star Wars A New Hope when the Death Star blows up Alderaan. That's going to be what happens.
Well, the best part about the Patriots playing the Jaguars is because everyone during the week, they're going to have their press conference with Bill Belichick, and they're going to be like, hey, the Jaguars really aren't that good. And Bill Belichick's going to sit there and have to compliment Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles and Doug Marrone. Remember when he was running out of Buffalo? This is a coach that was run out of the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
And is somehow having success with the Jaguars.
Doug Marrone. Jesus Christ. Sorry.
I think Tom Coughlin coming back there probably helped that team out more than people realize.
I think Tom Coughlin coming back is why they're finally going to get a real football helmet next year because I have a feeling he came back and he was like, get this shit out of here.
He's like, who forgot to paint our helmets?
Here's a thought, though, too. Speaking of Tom Coughlin, Patriots, Giants, Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
He's not going to be play calling low.
He's not.
No, but he could pass along some sage words of wisdom to Doug Marrone and his crew, I suppose.
What words of wisdom is he going to offer? Hey, make sure one of your receivers makes a miracle catch near the end of the game.
No, I was going to say tell them to score more points than the Patriots, and that'll do the trick.
Yeah. Well, really, and the defenses of the Giants won those 2 Super Bowls against the Patriots,
right?
Too. So, I mean, that's going to be the key. Jacksonville's defense has to be what people say it is.
Yeah.
And Leonard Fournette's going to have a great game, and they're going to have to just cut down on the possessions that you give the Patriots.
I mean, there's a path, like you said. There's certainly a path to victory for the Jaguars, but they've got to hit everything perfect.
Yeah.
They have really no margin for error in this game.
It's one of those things where, like, if you play the game 10 times, the Jaguars maybe win twice.
Yeah. Maybe.
You know?
Maybe.
And so it's just the next Sunday has to be one of those 2 times for the Jaguars. Otherwise,
they've got
just too good, too experienced, and they know exactly what to do.
They've got to do. Do you guys remember that playoff game a few years back where Baltimore went in and jumped on the Patriots early and ended up just running them out of the building?
Mm-hmm.
The Jaguars need to do something like that, where they just got to get in there and punch them right in the mouth and never let up. I mean, you can't ever, and this drives me nuts, when teams, if they do get a lead on the Patriots, I don't know if they start freaking out or what they do, but they always kind of like take their foot off the gas because now we want to
pull an Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, we want to kill the clock. We want to do whatever we've got to do just to get the win. No, man, when you've got them down, stay on them. Like, I think the Falcons were a perfect example of when they finally decided to stay on them, it was too late last year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Jaguars could win this game, but I wouldn't bet on it. I'd like to see it happen, but it's got to be perfect, and I don't know if they've got that in them.
Yeah.
Bortles is on the off week here, where he's not going to be good this week based on how he's been doing so far.
I did like the tweet sent out by the Jacksonville Jaguars in reference to the Mike Mitchell quote about how they were going to get back to New England and they were going to beat the Patriots in New England.
Right.
And so Jacksonville just tweeted that, said you could play them on NFL Madden.
Yeah, that was nice.
The Titans, I mean,
that was exactly what we thought it would be.
Yep.
Here's the thing that I kind of feel bad for Mike Mularkey. You get an improbable playoff victory in the first round, and you're a division title winner, and you get fired.
Did he get fired?
They said it was a mutual parting of ways, but we know what that means.
Because just this morning I was reading that idiot Peter King, and they're like, yeah, they've said they're going to keep him and all that, and I guess
that was the story yesterday.
Wow.
And that it changed quickly because I guess the Titans got in on the Josh McDaniels sweepstakes.
Ah, okay.
Oh, that's a.
Wasn't he a coach? Oh, hasn't he already been a head coach somewhere?
He was a head coach for the Denver Broncos, and he like set the team back 3 years. So
yeah,
he was the guy that drafted Tebow, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was more John Elway, but yeah.
Josh McDaniels. Yeah.
I've seen a couple names in here. Pat Shurmur is a head coaching candidate. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Did you see what he did with the Browns?
But apparently he's with the Vikings right now and doing a great job.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
He's probably a good coordinator, but I don't know that I'd use him as a head coach. I mean, Norv Turner was a great offensive coordinator, and we all saw what he did as a head coach. Sometimes, there's the Peter principle. I don't know that you need to be stay in your lane is what I'm trying to say.
I've seen the stories of, well, no, Josh McDaniels has learned the error of his ways and blah, blah, blah. Look, you know what else the only thing I need to know about Josh McDaniels? He was a Belichick disciple. And yes, Bill Belichick is probably the greatest NFL head coach of all time.
Yeah.
But his coaching tree, unlike other great NFL coaches of all time, his coaching tree is
iffy.
Pretty thin.
Yeah, it is.
Your Charlie Weisses, your Romeo Crennels.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that kind of just speaks to, Bill Belichick, he seems like a guy who keeps it pretty close to the chest, and it kind of just seems like part of it is a culture and an attitude that he has, and just because you worked well within his system doesn't mean that you can manufacture that culture for yourself if you don't have that attitude.
Go ahead, Zach.
Well, because McDaniels and the defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, their names are out there. But if I was either of those guys, why would you leave? I get, more money, you get to be a head coach, and that's your dream your whole life. But, one, do you really think Belichick's going to be around that much longer? And two, why would you leave the most successful place you could possibly be at this point?
I don't know.
Go join the Titans or the Colts. Because McDaniels is either rumored to be with the Colts or the Titans. And funnily enough, this is just, as a former Colts fan, this annoys the hell out of me. The two leading candidates for the Colts job are Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel?
Mike Vrabel.
What is, okay. He was, won a couple Super Bowls with the Pats, former Ohio State Buckeye, but I don't remember hearing his name come up. Yeah.
He's a linebacker coach for somebody, and I guess he's rising quickly through the ranks, so they say.
So I'm just going to ask, because this is going to come up in a million different conversations as the coaching searches go on. Are there no good black candidates out there? Because this thing sounds pretty damn lily white to me, and I especially
possibly Mike Tomlin.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, like for the Raiders, they're supposedly they filled out the Rooney Rule by talking to T. Martin, former
T.
Tennessee
Martin, the quarter. Oh my God, really?
He's the offensive coordinator for USC right now too. But I guess they spoke with him and they fulfilled the requirement, even though they hired John Gruden like the day after they fired Jack Del Rio. I don't know when they talked to T. Martin.
I like the idea. I forget who it was, but someone on the CCSLC forums posted how they're going to abide by the Rooney Rule. Mark Davis is going to call up Tony Dungy. He's going to be like, "Hey, Tony, it's Mark Davis. Hello, Mr. Davis. We're going to hire John Gruden. I think he'll be a great hire. Thanks.
Okay,
bye."
I wanted to go back to Belichick and the coaching tree for a second, because does Bill Belichick strike you as a guy that is going to mentor you and teach you and say, this is how I do it, and here's how you can be like me? No, he's a guy that you come in and you do your job. That's the expectation he has for you. That's it. Do your job. So, yeah, you succeed in his system, but that, like you said, Zach, it doesn't mean that you know his system or that you can implement it when you go elsewhere. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize, is that Belichick's not there teaching anybody. I mean, he's coaching, obviously, and all that, but he's not the guy that's going, let me show you how I do it. He's saying, here's what I want done, you get it done. And I don't know that translates to, like the Andy Reid coaching tree is actually pretty solid if you look at it. You know, I don't know what the difference is, but I just don't see Belichick as a guy teaching people how to be a coach like him. And maybe that's something that other teams should start looking at. Instead of just going, Josh McDaniels, Belichick coach, must be great. Romeo Crennel, Charlie, well, God, were there ever two bigger disasters as head coaches than Charlie Weiss and Romeo Crennel? I mean, really? But anyway, yeah. But I just wanted to bring that up about Belichick. He's not the mentoring type. At least he doesn't strike me as that anyway.
Yeah. Well, like Belichick, I pulled up a tree right here. Belichick's guys are Josh McDaniels, Eric Mangini, Charlie Weiss. None of them good.
Yeah.
But funny enough, they all came off of the Bill Parcells tree, which is Belichick and Sean Payton and Tom Coughlin, Tony Sparano. But, you know, you don't get them all right.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can't expect every single coach to come out and be, you know, but I think that the Parcells tree did pretty well, really.
Parcells tree did pretty well. The Marty Schottenheimer tree is okay. You got Bill Cowher, Herm Edwards, Tony Dungy, Wade Phillips.
Look up Andy Reid, because I think you're going to be surprised at how many good coaches came out of the Andy Reid school.
The one that I have up right now is Bill Walsh. And you got Mike Holmgren, Jim Fossil, George Seifert, Dennis Green. And then the guys that spring off of those guys are Mike Shanahan's, Rex Ryan, Norv Turner, Andy Reid out of Mike Holmgren.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid has John Harbaugh, Brad Childress. You know, like they all have goods and bads.
Yeah.
But nobody is off the Belichick tree, which is just strange.
Right.
But anyway.
None of them compared to the Marvin Lewis tree, which was so good. The Bengals touted it when they rehired him for 2 more years.
I'm going to keep saying this. If I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I would be so aggravated right now at this. To me, it just seems like you've just said, we're happy with what we have. And that's fine. This is what it's going to be. And you look at it and you go, no playoff wins. You get a season or two where you're pretty good, but for the most part, this is it. Why would you want to stick with that? Other than that, what's his name? Mike Brown's really cheap. I know that. But I don't know. Anyway, let's go to
the NFC, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, how have we avoided this for so long?
Well, you got to save the good stuff for last, I guess.
Greg, you've seen more football than Mike and I combined, probably.
Yeah. I don't know about combined, but I've seen more than you have, yeah.
Is this the greatest playoff football finish you can think of?
Yes. Yes. It is.
Vikings over Saints.
Yep.
Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs. 61-yard
I think
buzzer-beating touchdown.
As fans, we have all been in that very position that the Vikings were in yesterday, where you're sitting there and you think, there's virtually no chance of it happening, but wouldn't it be great if this one miracle play would happen just this one time, and we could score and then this is the one time it actually happened.
And if you're the Vikings, you think about that more than other teams, maybe.
Right.
Just like, oh God, again, this, come on.
That was just, I can't think of one that was better. I'll put it that way. I mean, I read today that was the first ever walk-off touchdown in regulation in NFL playoff history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had other ones that were close. The original Hail Mary play against the Vikings,
against
right?
The Vikings, right. Drew Pearson and Roger Staubach, where Drew Pearson, as everybody that's ever seen that play will point out, pushed off and got away with interference, but whatever.
You have plays like that. You have the catch. You have the immaculate reception, but none of those are game enders like this one was.
This was just, like I said, it's that play that you pray for and you go, just this one time, let it happen. Well, this time it did.
And I mean, as amazing as the whole play is, every single time I watched the replay, there was only one thing I could think about, was just, what in the hell is Marcus Williams doing?
Yeah. Right.
Marcus Williams, that is the most baffling thing I've ever seen on a football field.
Like, again, he's a rookie. He's had a really great season. He had an interception earlier in the game that helped turn the game for the Vikings. And it just, like, he was having such a great day and he's had such a great season. He's obviously a very good player, but, like, you have a guy in Stephon Diggs who jumps up to get the football. So Marcus Williams dives his shoulder down to potentially hit him in the legs, and then he goes to do it and he whiffs. He doesn't touch him at all.
How many times?
I've heard the explanation of, like, he didn't want to get a pass interference or whatever. Well, then step backwards 2 feet and make sure he catches the ball and tackle him in bounds.
Right.
You do that and the game is over. The Vikings have no timeouts. As long as you don't let him get to the sideline, you win that football game.
How many
All
times?
you have to do is the prevent defense to its T as to what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
You don't let the ball get behind you. You let it keep the ball in front of you.
How many times on this show have we talked about bad tackling, where instead of throwing a shoulder at a guy, wrap him up? This is a case of if Marcus Williams had just simply did a fundamental tackle, meaning just wrap the guy up. That game's over and the Saints are on their way to Philadelphia. It's that simple. I don't know if he was trying to blow him up to make a big play. I hit him low while he's up in the air. He's going to go flipping around. It's going to look really cool on TV. I don't know what he was thinking, but in that particular case, just a simple grab him and hold on to him, and that's it. The ball game's over. But he missed by a mile. It wasn't even close. And then he blocked the one guy that had a chance of chasing him.
And I guess in the locker room, people saw him and he had his hands in his face and he was crying. And I feel bad for the kid.
Sure, I do too.
Like, in the most improbable time to play undisciplined.
Yeah.
Like, I get it if this was like the second quarter, but like literally one way or another, this is the last play of the game. You have to make one more play.
Yep.
One more simple play, and you can go home.
And why was? I mean, I don't get either. Like, he was clearly the last line of defense, but why was there should have been
safety there? Yeah.
You got to that they can't go down the middle. They've got to play the sidelines. So I'm like, I'm rushing three guys, and the other 8 are on the sidelines on both sides or whatever. But that's not the point. The simple point is a simple, fundamental, wrap your arms around the guy and tackle him would have solved all of this. It's all he needed to do. And he was in position to do it. The minute he put his head down, and like I said, he missed by 2 feet. It wasn't even close. And just to add insult to injury, he ran right into the one guy that might have had a decent, at least a prayer of a shot of chasing Diggs down. But nope. And here we are. But yeah, as far as endings go, that's the craziest one I've ever seen. It was amazing.
No.
And did you guys watch the video? Somebody shot it from the sideline with their phone. That place, I'd never heard a crowd sound like that ever. It was so loud. It was amazing. They just lost their minds, and rightfully so. But hell of a good game, really good game.
Just awesome.
I still think the Saints are the better team.
I think what ended up happening, and this this seems like it's solid sign. So you can you can just quote me on this.
All right.
Is that the Saints used some voodoo magic years ago to get Brett Favre to throw that stupid pass he never should have thrown.
Yeah.
And Marcus Williams just was the schmuck who had to pay for it in reverse. Like, I had to come back, and they had to come back and pay for it eventually. And here, this is how.
This is when the voodoo people from the New Orleans area there. This is where the price had to be paid.
Exactly.
All right, I'm down with that.
I don't know about voodoo magic. I think this is just for a team that's been as snake bitten as the Vikings have been over their history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like it's recent history. They have been doing this since the beginning.
Okay, you're talking about how long I've been watching football. The first Super Bowl I remember was the Vikings losing to the Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
that's how long they've been at this.
Since the dawn of football, the Chiefs or the Vikings have been losing football games.
Yeah.
In dramatic fashion. I just wanted to plop in the front page of the New Orleans Time-Picayune newspaper. And what they used for their headline, which I thought was great.
expletive.
Just fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Marcus Williams, he didn't go hide. I mean, he took the questions after the game and stuff, so he manned up, and you got to respect that. And he knew he messed up.
Yeah, but just insane. And really, kind of the Vikings had to pull that one out of the fire for no reason.
Yeah, they really shouldn't have been so.
They were dominant in the first half.
Yeah.
The defense was great. The offense was executing. They were going to win this game running away.
But that's like I talked about last week with the Saints team. That's what I liked about them is they played tough teams all year, so they were capable of getting back into that game. And I think that's why they did, because they didn't have a patsy schedule. I mean, they've been playing tough all year, but I don't know. I still think the Saints are the better team of the two. I think that they had a better shot. I don't know who's going to win between Minnesota and Philadelphia. I mean, good luck trying to figure that out.
Yeah, and especially in a game where the lead changed 4 times in the last 3 minutes. Just an insane finish.
But you know what? We were texting, guys, and I told you, I said, I still got a good feeling about these Vikings. I don't know why, but I said this gut instinct that was going to happen. I didn't think they were going to score a touchdown. I thought they'd get the quick pass and kick a 42-yard field goal. It just had that kind of feel to it.
I know you said call me crazy, but I think they're going to do it. And I'm like, the Vikings have 70 yards and Case Keenum at the helm. Like I can't.
I was ready to write him off, and then God damn it! Case Keenum must have eaten Russell Wilson's heart at some point to steal his fucking, to steal his out of his ass victory power.
There's a lot of voodoo and heart eating and shit going on in this game, Mike. I'm telling you. Yeah.
I haven't watched a lot of the Vikings this year, but the Case Keenum that I saw on Sunday is not anything like the Case Keenum I saw for the Rams last year. I don't know what the hell.
Look, I don't think he's turned around and become a top flight elite quarterback, but he's not bad. He plays,
could have fooled everyone in Houston and St. Louis and Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles twice, I think, right? Didn't he get cut by the Rams twice?
No.
I'm thinking of Foles. Foles got cut by the Rams twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this much we know for certain, guys, is that either Case Keenum or Nick Foles is going to the Super Bowl next week.
Which is insane. And again, another game where time management at the end. Falcons. You're staring at the goal line with 30 seconds left. What the hell?
I'm telling you, it's been a hell of a 365 for the for Georgia football.
How do you get down there? What they have? I don't know how much time was left, but they were in good shape.
I think there was a minute left.
4 cracks at the end zone, and then that last play that they ran, that was just idiotic, stupid, unbelievably dumb. No,
and the things that I saw in this game were the same reasons that the Rams still could have beaten the Falcons last week. The Falcons got all these benefits. They got field position and all that sort of stuff early in the game. and they got that early field goal. Yeah, they got a touchdown, but they just couldn't do a damn thing with the ball when they got it. And so the Eagles were able to hang around. And I mean, Nick Foles, 15 points. Like, really?
I don't.
No touchdowns.
No touchdowns. All field goals.
No.
All field goals.
No, they scored one touchdown because the guy missed the extra point.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
so they had one touchdown, then he missed the extra point.
The one rushing touchdown, right?
But
just look, based on what I've seen, if the two teams are playing at their capacity with their current roster as is,
Minnesota.
It's Minnesota.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nick Foles has not shown me 1 ounce that he's capable of putting up more than 15 points.
No, the Eagles fans and management and stuff, they put up a brave face, and they've made it sound like, hey, this is our guy. He's capable. I haven't seen anything that would lead me to believe that at all.
No. And should by some miracle they do beat the Vikings, they're not beating the Patriots.
Or the Jaguars, for that matter.
Yeah, you're right. Or the Jaguars. Like, it just, no. Not Nick Foles.
No.
No.
But it is disappointing because this Eagles team, they're very good, and it's just a shame because they were having such a great season with Carson Wentz. Mm-hmm. And I think if you can get a Carson Wentz versus Tom Brady Super Bowl, that makes it pretty damn interesting. That would have been a pretty good game, and that would have been something I would have been excited to watch. So we're not going to get that now. We're going to get Foles or Keenum. But I think going into Philadelphia, Keenum has clearly shown that he can play well enough to win these kind of games, and I think you got to like the Vikings, right?
I think you got to like the Vikings, not even just because of Keenum. If the Vikings defense can play like it did in that first half, like, yes, the Saints came back in the second half, but if they can play like they did in the first half against Nick Foles,
right,
they'll score points. You know, they'll put that game out of reach.
Well, not only that, but I don't think you have to worry about a Nick Foles-led team putting like the Saints had Drew Brees, and they've got Kamara, the running back. They've got good players. So them coming back on the Vikings, that wasn't a lapse of defense by Minnesota. That's just a damn good football team doing what they had to do to get back into the game. I don't see the Eagles being able to do that if the same thing happens against the Vikings.
And while the Vikings were really good defensively in the first half, Drew Brees just wasn't accurate in that first half either. So once he got his head on straight, they were able to put stuff together.
Yeah.
But that's, again, like you said, Drew Brees is not Nick Foles in any sense.
No. I think they both wear number 9. Other than that. That's where the similarities end right there.
Yeah. But good God, the Falcons, like, this is a game that they should have won.
Oh, yeah.
They should have won that game. Going away.
If you think with the Falcons, they were on a path. I mean, you talk about an easy path. Once they got past the Rams, they should have been home free for the Super Bowl at that point, I think.
Yeah.
You're going up against a Carson Wentz-less Philadelphia Eagles team coming off a week off with Nick Foles at quarterback. You got to win that game. You can't do what they did. You've got to win. And then you get in the Super Bowl, and you never know. Maybe they go out, and if they play the Patriots and they redeem themselves from last year, it was that simple. It was right there in front of them. All they had to do was go play football, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah, just I don't know. I don't even know what to say about the Falcons anymore. They're just they're one of those teams. Like I asked you guys on Saturday. Would you rather, or I guess just in general, would you rather be the Cleveland Browns? Or I guess the city of Cleveland, the state of Georgia, or the Minnesota Vikings, because it looked like they were going to blow that one, but they held on, so it was okay.
I've got to think that it's been tough for Georgia lately. So.
Oh boy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's been a tough 365 days for them. Because I think if you're a Falcons fan and you get past the Rams like they did, and you look at it and you go, we've got the Eagles. And they don't have Carson Wentz. This is going to be easy. We should win this game. That's what I would think. That's what I thought. And just the play calling. My God, just that last series, the 4 downs there with 4th and goal. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like it was almost a bad idea to hire Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, you might get that impression at this point. Oh man, unbelievable.
Yeah, look, again, he was everyone was waiting for the Falcons offense to click again this year like it did last year under Kyle Shanahan, but they forgot that Kyle Shanahan's in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And they were dealing with Steve Sarkisian. He just couldn't find the right notes to play.
And we're still waiting for the offense to start clicking.
Yeah, and the other thing, seeing that game, it just makes me just annoyed. Because I know the Rams should have beaten the Falcons, and they could have beaten the Eagles, and they could have played friggin' NFC Championship game. But no, they had a bad day.
Well, the Rams had a bad day, and the Falcons managed to stay out of their own way long enough to win a football game. That's what happened there.
Yeah, and then it looked like it was going to be the same sort of game against the Eagles, like almost carbon copy sort of thing, where they were doing just enough to be ahead. But
well, what are you going to do? Yeah.
What are you going to do? So, championship games.
God.
The early game is Patriots Jaguars.
Good, get it out. Get the slaughter out of the way early. That's nice.
I really would like this to be close.
So would I.
But New England's a 9-point favorite, and Vegas usually knows a little bit.
Yep.
No tell on the weather yet, but I don't know if that'll have a huge factor because it was pretty cold in Pittsburgh too.
Yeah, I think that hurt the Falcons too. We talked about it last week that if it was below 30, that was going to be tough for them, and that's what happened in Philly. But I want to see if I can get the weather here right now. Let's see. Foxborough, Massachusetts. They're under a winter storm watch right now. That's good news, huh? Looks like it's going to be decent. Sunday, let me see. Sunday is
47 degrees.
47 and partly cloudy. That's pretty good weather.
Yeah.
I think that'll help the Jags some.
Yeah, that'll help. And it'll be during the day, so the sun will be out. That's fine.
If you're looking for any little advantage the Jags can get, there's one. It's going to be halfway decent weather-wise. I don't know. I mean, can any of us seriously pick the Jaguars to win this?
It's not going to happen.
Without it just being like a total attempt at a hot take, basically?
It's not. No. The Patriots are going to win this.
The Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. What are you going to do?
I'm not so sure about that yet. I think if they get the Vikings, I think the Vikings could make it interesting because the Vikings can get pressure on Brady, and we've seen what happens.
And it will be the thing that will interest me really if the Vikings can make it. Yes, it's going to be in Minnesota, the Super Bowl
at their home stadium.
And people are like, "Oh, it's a home game."
No,
it's a Super Bowl crowd. It's not. It's not going to be full of Vikings fans necessarily. I'm sure a bunch of them will buy up the tickets if they can, but the Super Bowl's still a hard ticket to come by. Ultimately,
how many? They don't get the two teams that participate don't get a lot of tickets to sell to their fans. I thought it was like 1,000 or something for each team, or maybe it's a little bit more, but it's not a whole lot.
They get those, but I think there's also a lottery for the home season ticket holders, so there will be Viking fans that potentially have tickets.
Yeah, right.
But the rest of it is corporate.
Yeah.
Or it's just out of this world expensive.
Mm-hmm.
As, Headley would know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
by the way, Headley, if you happen to be listening, I don't know if you stopped listening after you got banned or not, but if you happen to be listening, yes, we thought it was funny that you blew all that money, and then your Georgia Bulldogs went out and basically did the same thing your Falcons did. I just hope it didn't cost you as much this time. All right, let's move along.
But yeah, it's Patriots. Like you said, if you're picking the Jaguars, it's simply just to have a hot take.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to because I got a 50-50 shot of being right, but no, it's the Patriots. I mean, I guess basically, how bad is it going to be? I think would be the prediction that we should make, if any at all.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the Jaguars are the type of team that could, in theory, slow down the Patriots because if they can rush the quarterback and keep him from run him outside, don't let him step up in the pocket. If they can run the ball and control the clock, those are things that the Jaguars could do. But
And you still got to do it.
Like, yes, it's still Blake Bortles.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is that basically, worst case scenario, they've got a second running back to go with Leonard Fournette with Bortles because he's a pretty good runner. So
yeah.
I don't know, with the weather being good and they're the Patriots, they're chasing history at this point. I mean, they're like setting history. They're setting precedents at this point. I just don't see them letting down enough to let the Jaguars come in there and win that game. I just don't see how it happens.
7th straight conference championship game for the Patriots.
I know. Is that amazing or what?
Could you? I can't even think of another time that it's even close like that.
No, the Cowboys made 3 straight in the late 70s, early 80s. They lost all 3 of them, but I remember that.
I'm trying to think of other sports. How many did the Braves make when they were winning all their division titles?
How many World Series?
How many championship series?
Oh God! Well, see, that's the thing though, because before '94 they didn't have the extra round of playoffs. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I know in football. I'll take that back. Okay, the Cowboys. No. The Cowboys may have made like 5 or 6 straight, but the Cowboys, I know they went to it in '78 because they were in the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
The Rams made it in '79, but I don't know who the Rams, I think, beat the Buccaneers to go to the Super Bowl that year. So then the Cowboys were like in 80, 81, and 82, but they lost all of them. So that's the closest I can think of. I know the Browns did it 3 out of 4 years in the 80s, but 7 straight, insane.
Yeah, inconceivable.
That's like if you don't make the AFC title game, it's a disappointment. I mean, that's their standard at this point. Jeez, fucking team. Anyway, I think Mike's right. It's going to be like, I don't know what, 42-10, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll give the Jaguars the benefit of the doubt and say like 35-21.
That'd be good. Hey, if they can keep it that close, you never know. Crazier things have happened. And in Minnesota, Philly, what do we like?
I'm going to go with Minnesota. I don't think it's going to be that close. I think Minnesota proved yesterday that their defense was for real, that it could compete with some high-powered teams. I think the offense proved that it's still just as good as it ever was at putting up points, and I just don't see the Eagles with it. That game, they should have lost that game against the Falcons. They really should have.
Yeah.
No, the Eagles should have lost the game against the Falcons. Really, the Vikings ultimately should have lost the game against here's the thing. The Vikings should have lost the game against the Saints, but they also should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They were the better team for the majority of the game, but when it came down to it, they were in the position to lose because the Saints just had an amazing second half.
Yeah, I think the Vikings have got that great defense, and they've got pretty good receivers. That you don't really what's that name? The other dude, Thielen, is that his name?
Yeah, Adam Thielen.
He's pretty good, and we saw what Stephon Diggs can do yesterday, and I just don't see the Eagles being able to. If Case Keenum just plays average level 2017 Case Keenum, I don't see how the Eagles win this game. I just don't see it.
This Eagles team just they're just not good in their current state.
No, without Carson Wentz, it changes their whole dynamic. And I don't know how
if this was Carson Wentz, it'd be a hell of a football game.
Oh yeah,
but
I think if they got Wentz, I'm taking the Eagles all the way in this one.
The only chance the Eagles have, the Eagles do have a pretty good defense. Let's not undersell that they do have a pretty good defense. So if the Eagles defense can make some game changers, a pick 6 or something like that.
Right.
That's how they got to win this game, is to make it a close one.
They basically got to do.
It was like the Falcons game again.
Well, I was just going to say what they've got to do is basically play like they did against the Falcons, do the exact same thing again. Weather in Philly for Sunday is 53 and 39, so that's not bad. It'll be probably like in the 40s at game time.
Yeah, you would say, well, the Vikings are a dome team and whatever, but you got to you would have to remember the Vikings did play an entire season outside last year.
Yeah,
so they're not against it.
Yeah,
or was it last year? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
so that's when they played the negative 12 degrees against the Seahawks and lost.
Right. That was the game the kicker had a chance to win it and blew it or something. I don't remember, but
which Vikings game are you talking about? I mean, take your pick.
The most recent one, the most recent playoff game, I think. What was I going to say? And they're going to be the road team technically in this game too, right? If they make the Super Bowl?
No, not technically. Oh, if they make the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. It will be interesting to see how that works out. I think everybody's like, oh, they'll have a home game. The crowd's going to be on their side. I don't know that necessarily is going to be the case.
Well, I don't know if it'll matter.
Yeah, but anyway.
But yeah, so
we're looking at Patriots-Vikings Super Bowl. All right.
Which will end with the Patriots triumphant because it's just how things are. Right?
It would be so Patriots and it would be so Vikings for that to happen. For the Patriots to crush all of our hopes and dreams.
And crush Minnesota's chance to win a Super Bowl in front of their home fans. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like we finally got to the Super Bowl in our home building.
If we want to look at precedent, I mean, the Georgia Bulldogs basically had a home game for the championship, and we saw what the collegiate level Patriots did to that. So same idea.
Sad.
Right?
Yeah. God.
All right.
The season's stupid.
The season is stupid. It is.
It is probably the stupidest football season I can remember.
On that note, we're going to call it a night. You can follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports, subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and the YouTubes, and find us on Facebook. Go Jags. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.
Steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs. Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable. Vikings win it.
It's 3rd down and 10. Keenum is in the gun from his 39. 4-man front, 6 in the secondary. Shotgun snap. He moves up. He throws a long line drive on the near side. Leaping to a catch made. It's made by, oh my goodness. It's going to go in for the touchdown. Grab by Diggs. He broke a tackle. 61-yard touchdown throw. The Vikings have won. The Minnesota Vikings have won.
I can't believe what I just saw, Kevin.
3rd and 10 from the Viking 39. The Vikings need a completion and an apparent field goal attempt. Here's Keenum, dropping, looking, throwing near sideline, and it's caught by Stephon Diggs. He's going to take it inside the 15, 10, 5, touchdown on the final play of this game. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?